Lyra floated above the training grounds, her violet eyes glinting with amusement. The hum of the hover platforms beneath her feet carried the voices of soldiers practicing maneuvers. She leaned on the railing, watching the humans struggle with exercises designed for taller, stronger alien species. Her laughter was soft, musical, and dripping with condescension. "Look at him," she whispered to her friends, nudging one of the smaller alien cadets beside her. "He can barely lift half a ton. Do humans even survive on their planet, or are they all this weak?" Her friends giggled, a chorus of disbelief and mockery. Marcus, the human she mocked, heard it. He did not stop what he was doing. He did not glare. He did not even flinch. Instead, he breathed steadily, positioning himself, adjusting the weight, muscles straining, yet his face calm. Lyra tilted her head, curiosity flickering. He didn't look angry. That in itself was unusual. Most beings, when mocked, reacted with rage or fear. But this human? He carried a quiet, focused determination, like a candle burning steadily in a storm. Marcus struggled with the barbell, his arms trembling under the pressure. Sweat ran down his face and his breath came in short, sharp bursts. Lyra's laughter softened into a quiet chuckle. "Still, he barely moves it. How can he even survive in battle?" she whispered. The human lifted again, slow but steady. The barbell barely shifted at first, but then his body began to adjust, his muscles locking into place. His face, tight with effort, reflected no despair, only resolve. Lyra's amusement wavered. She had expected clumsiness, weakness, maybe even a collapse. Instead, she saw something she didn't understand. His effort wasn't about strength alone. It was about persistence, willpower. "Do you see that?" one of her friends asked, a hint of nervousness in the voice. "He's still trying." Lyra nodded slightly, though she wouldn't admit it. "Yes, but it's just stubbornness. Humans survive because they refuse to give up?" Her voice carried a mixture of curiosity and disbelief. Marcus finally hoisted the barbell up fully, muscles shaking, but his eyes calm. The instructor, a massive reptilian named Thok, nodded in approval. "Good, not fast but persistent. That will count more than strength in the field." Lyra blinked. She had expected failure, embarrassment, ridicule. Instead, Marcus had succeeded where she thought he would fail. She felt a flicker of unease. Could she have misjudged him? She shook her head, dismissing the thought. "No, it's probably luck," she muttered, though the doubt lingered at the edge of her mind. The training continued. Marcus moved with careful precision, each step deliberate, each maneuver calculated. While Lyra watched, she noticed how other alien cadets stumbled, relying on raw strength. Marcus relied on focus, on patience, on timing. He paused briefly, catching his breath, and glanced at her. Their eyes met for a fleeting moment. Lyra felt a strange sensation, something between irritation and intrigue. He wasn't afraid. He wasn't arrogant, he just was. She turned away quickly, pretending to examine the training grounds more closely. Her mind raced. How could such a fragile-looking creature carry himself with such calm authority? How could he endure something that would crush most others? Lyra's laughter faded into silence. Around her, the other aliens continued to mock quietly, but she didn't join in. For the first time, she watched without judgment. She watched, trying to understand and realize something she hadn't before. Strength wasn't just about size. It was about heart, endurance, and courage. Marcus, oblivious to her change in attention, continued his training. His arms shook, his chest rose and fell with effort, but his eyes were steady, his focus unbroken. Lyra realized that mockery was easy, but respect was earned, and perhaps unknowingly, this human had already begun to earn hers. Above the training ground, Lyra's violet eyes narrowed slightly, a mixture of curiosity and challenge burning inside. She didn't know it yet, but this human whom she had mocked so casually was about to change everything she thought she knew about strength, courage, and survival. The instructor, Thok, stomped his massive claws against the metal floor, making the training ground tremble. "New mission," he bellowed, his voice echoing through the high ceilings. A convoy of supplies must be protected while crossing the asteroid belt. All cadets are to participate. "Human, you will lead the squad." A sharp gasp rippled through the alien cadets. Whispers spread like fire. Lyra's violet eyes widened in surprise. "The human, leading? Surely you'd jest." She whispered to her friend, her voice tinged with disbelief. Marcus stepped forward, his posture calm and unassuming. He nodded to Thok, not a word of complaint escaping his lips. He didn't look afraid or arrogant, just ready. Lyra studied him for a long moment, the amusement on her face slowly replaced by curiosity. She had mocked him before, but now she couldn't look away. Something about his quiet confidence unsettled her. The squad assembled quickly. Lyra noticed the nervous tension among the alien cadets. They were taller, stronger, faster, but in Marcus's presence, uncertainty crept into their movements. He was human, yet he held an authority that they couldn't ignore. "Follow my lead," Marcus said simply. His voice wasn't loud, but it carried a strange weight. Calm and steady, it commanded attention. Lyra felt a shiver of surprise. She had never heard a human speak like that before. The convoy began its journey through the asteroid belt. The stars outside sparkled coldly, and the enormous cargo ships creaked under their own weight. The cadets maneuvered their smaller ships around the massive transports, trying to keep pace. Pirates attacked without warning. Bright streaks of laser fire lit the void, and explosions shook the convoy. Chaos erupted as alien cadets scrambled, some panicking, some firing wildly. Lyra's heart pounded in her chest. She had expected the human to freeze, to stumble, to be terrified, but Marcus was calm. "Form a wedge."
"Shields up!"
"Protect the central transport." Marcus barked orders. Every word precise, every command clear. Lyra watched, stunned, as the alien cadets obeyed without question. They moved faster, smarter, more coordinated. It was like watching a master at work. Lyra tried to follow the action, her hands trembling on the controls. She had never seen strategy like this in real time. Humans were supposed to be weak, disorganized, and fragile. Yet this one human, barely larger than a small alien, was orchestrating a defense that rivaled the best alien commanders she had trained under. A transport shook violently as a pirate ship rammed it. Lyra froze for a moment, her heart skipping a beat. Marcus's voice cut through the chaos.
"Stabilize!"
"Focus on the weak points. Don't let panic control you." She realized something startling. The human strength wasn't in their size or their weapons. It was in their mind, their patience, their ability to adapt under pressure. Marcus wasn't just leading them. He was inspiring them. His calm, unwavering focus gave courage to those who had thought themselves powerless. Lyra's chest tightened. She had come here thinking she was superior, that humans were laughable in comparison. Now, in the middle of danger, she saw the truth. She had underestimated not just this human, but the entire species he represented. By the time the convoy reached safety, Lyra was silent. Around her, alien cadets murmured in awe, heads hanging in reluctant respect. Marcus didn't celebrate. He didn't boast. He checked the convoy, made sure everyone was safe, and then looked back at the wreckage of the battle with quiet resolve. Lyra's violet eyes met his again. For the first time, mockery was gone. In its place was fascination, an awareness that this human, this one small being, carried a strength no muscle could match. His mind, his courage, his heart, they were weapons far more powerful than she had imagined. And as the convoy limped forward through the star-strewn darkness, Lyra realized that something had changed within her. The human she had laughed at, the one she had thought weak and fragile, had become a puzzle she could not ignore and perhaps a force she could not hope to surpass. For the first time, she began to understand that strength was not always visible. Sometimes it was quiet, patient, and unyielding, and sometimes it came in the form of a human who had endured far more than she could imagine. The asteroid belt stretched endlessly ahead. A chaotic maze of jagged rocks and deadly debris. Lyra gripped the controls of her hovercraft tightly, her violet eyes scanning the swirling void. The convoy moved cautiously, led by Marcus, who remained calm despite the tension. Pirate ships appeared suddenly, emerging from behind massive asteroids like shadows of death. They fired relentlessly, lasers slicing through the dark expanse. Explosions rocked the convoy, sending smaller ships tumbling. Alien cadets screamed, panicked, unsure how to react. Lyra's hands shook as she tried to steer her craft away from danger. "Focus," Marcus's voice cut through the chaos, steady and commanding. "Form a defensive wedge. Protect the transports.
"Watch your angles."
Lyra froze for a moment, stunned. He wasn't shouting. He wasn't angry. He was calm like a rock in a storm. And somehow that calmness spread. The panicked aliens around her began to follow his directions, moving with unexpected precision. One transport shuddered violently as a pirate ship rammed it. Lyra's heart leapt into her throat, but Marcus's voice guided her. "Shields forward. Hold the line. Don't give them an opening." She followed his instructions, maneuvering with careful precision. Her violet eyes darted around, watching Marcus coordinate. Every move. He gave orders, predicted attacks, and remained 3 steps ahead of the pirates. It was as if he could see the entire battlefield at once. Lyra couldn't help but admire him, though she refused to admit it. A smaller alien ship careened toward an asteroid, engines failing. Lyra's reflexes kicked in. "Watch out!" she shouted, diving to intercept it. Marcus's voice came over the comm. "Support it. Guide it out. You can do this." Her hands moved faster, responding to his calm commands. The ship stabilized, and Lyra felt a strange warmth in her chest. He wasn't just commanding. He was teaching, inspiring, and giving hope. The battle continued, each attack more intense than the last. Pirate ships swarmed from all directions, and the convoy shook under relentless assault. Lyra's heart pounded, but she no longer felt fear. She felt focus, driven by the human leading them. Lyra caught a glimpse of Marcus piloting a fighter ship through the chaos, coordinating 3 other ships at once. He guided the pilots, gave directions, and yet remained calm. One alien cadet turned to him in desperation. "We can't hold them," she cried. Marcus's eyes met hers, steady and unwavering. "Yes, you can. Trust your team. Trust your training. Trust yourself." Something inside Lyra shifted. She had laughed at him, mocked him, called him weak, but now in the face of danger, she saw what she had missed. Strength wasn't measured in muscles or size or power. It was measured in courage, focus, and heart. Marcus had all of that in abundance. As the convoy pushed forward, Lyra realized something else. Humans were survivors. They endured harsh planets, unforgiving climates, and enemies far stronger than themselves. And Marcus, one human, carried that entire spirit. By the time the last pirate ship was driven off, the convoy limped through the asteroid belt, battered but intact. Alien cadets whispered in awe, exchanging nervous glances. Lyra sat back in her craft, her chest tight, eyes wide. She couldn't bring herself to laugh. Not anymore. Marcus landed near the command center of the convoy, checking each ship with calm efficiency. Lyra watched, her heart beating in a strange mixture of respect and disbelief. He didn't boast, didn't celebrate. He simply ensured everyone was safe, quietly leading by example. Lyra floated silently nearby, her mind racing. She had mocked him, called him weak, assumed superiority. Yet he had shown her something she couldn't ignore. Humans were more than their appearance. They were resilient, clever, and capable of inspiring courage even in those far stronger than themselves. For the first time, Lyra looked at Marcus not with mockery, but with a sense of awe. He wasn't just surviving the battle, he was shaping it, guiding it, winning it, and she realized something terrifying. She had underestimated humans. As the convoy moved safely toward its destination, Lyra's violet eyes stayed on Marcus. He looked back at her briefly, calm and unreadable, and in that moment she knew her perception of strength, of courage, of power had begun to change forever. The human she had mocked so easily was extraordinary. After the convoy reached safety, Lyra found herself lingering near Marcus, unable to pull her eyes away. The stars outside the command center shimmered like distant jewels, cold and beautiful, yet comforting in their stillness. Marcus stood quietly, staring at a holographic display of his homeworld Earth. Lyra hesitated. She had never asked a human about their origins before. They were small, fragile-looking, and she assumed their worlds were weak like them. But now, after seeing him lead the convoy, after watching his calm courage under fire, she wanted to understand. "You
Miss it, don't you?"
she asked softly, her voice almost hesitant. Marcus looked at her and nodded, a faint, wistful smile appearing on his face. Every day, Earth, it's not easy. It's harsh, unforgiving. Cities constantly under threat. Resources scarce. People fight for every scrap, every inch of land, every drop of water. But we survive. Somehow we always survive. Lyra's violet eyes widened. She had never imagined a world like that. You survive. Against what? Nature? War? Marcus's gaze returned to the hologram, his voice quiet but steady. Both and more. Disease, hunger, climate disasters. Even other humans sometimes. We've endured everything. And somehow it made us stronger, not in muscle or size, but in heart, in spirit. We fight not because we have no fear, but because fear is something we've learned to control. Lyra listened, mesmerized. She had never heard anyone speak with such quiet power. She had always assumed strength came from dominance, from raw force, yet here was a human. Small, fragile-looking, whose courage and endurance could rival the strongest alien warriors she knew. It sounds impossible, she whispered, her voice filled with disbelief. Your world, your people. They survived all of that? Marcus smiled faintly, almost sadly. Not all. Many didn't, but those who remained, we learned. We adapted. Every struggle made us sharper, smarter, braver. And when we work together, there's nothing we can't face. That's why I'm here, guiding this convoy. Not because I'm the strongest, but because I've survived worse and learned how to endure. Lyra felt a lump form in her throat. She had mocked him, assumed his weakness, laughed at his small frame. Yet now she realized she had underestimated not just him, but his entire species. Humans were more than what she had believed. They were survivors, thinkers, and warriors of a different kind. A kind that used heart, mind, and courage to overcome obstacles far greater than any alien could imagine. She looked at him with new eyes, violet meeting brown. I didn't know, she admitted softly. I thought humans were weak, fragile, easy to dismiss. But you are incredible. Marcus shook his head gently. We're not all incredible. I'm just ordinary. But Earth made me what I am. My people made me what I am. And I carry that with me wherever I go. Lyra swallowed hard, her heart pounding. She felt a strange mixture of awe, respect, and shame. She had mocked someone who had endured unimaginable struggles. Someone whose strength was invisible yet unstoppable. And now she realized how wrong she had been. For the first time, she truly understood the human spirit. It wasn't the tallest, the fastest, or the strongest who mattered. It was the one who refused to give up. The one who inspired others. The one who endured against impossible odds. And Marcus, this human, embodied all of that. Lyra took a deep breath and stepped closer. She wanted to say more, to ask questions, to learn everything about his homeworld. She wanted to understand the courage that allowed humans to survive, adapt, and inspire. But for now, she simply watched him, her mind turning over everything she had believed about strength and survival. And she knew, deep inside, that her perception had changed forever. The human she had mocked was a force she could no longer ignore. Days passed after the convoy mission, and Lyra found herself watching Marcus more closely than ever. She no longer mocked him. She studied him, quietly amazed at the way he carried himself. Every small movement, every calm decision seemed effortless, yet it was deliberate, born from a lifetime of struggle and survival. During morning drills, she noticed how he guided younger soldiers. A small alien rookie struggled to lift her training weapon. Lyra expected Marcus to ignore it, to let the weaker cadet fail as she assumed was normal in alien training. But he knelt beside her, voice calm and steady. Balance your weight here. Shift your grip. Don't rush. Focus, he said softly, demonstrating the proper technique. The rookie's hands shook, but under his guidance she managed to lift the weapon correctly. Her eyes lit up with pride. Lyra blinked, caught off guard by the human's patience. Later, during a tactical simulation, an alien cadet tripped under pressure and nearly ruined the team's formation. Marcus did not scold him or make a joke at his expense. He simply guided him quietly, giving small instructions with care. Lyra realized she had never seen an alien act like this. Strength paired with compassion. Leadership without arrogance. That evening, as the group rested in the common quarters, Lyra watched Marcus share rations with those who had none. His hands moved quickly but kindly, dividing the food, checking that everyone had enough. Some aliens whispered to each other, confused. Why would he care so much for weaker beings? Lyra felt a strange warmth in her chest. He was not just strong or brave, he was human, in the truest sense. Resilient, kind, and endlessly patient. Lyra remembered her first impression of him. Weak, fragile, laughable. And now, after days of observing him, she could barely reconcile that memory with the reality. Marcus was small, yes, but inside him burned a fire she had never expected. A fire that made him endure, survive, and inspire those around him. One night, the cadets faced another training exercise, a simulated attack with chaos everywhere. Lyra initially felt confident, ready to demonstrate her superiority. But she froze when the simulation became intense, unsure where to go. Marcus noticed immediately. Follow my lead. Trust your instincts. You can do this, he instructed calmly. Lyra followed him, and to her surprise, she moved faster. thought clearer, and reacted more precisely than ever before. Marcus wasn't commanding with force. He was teaching her how to find strength she didn't realize she had. After the simulation, she stood apart, catching her breath, watching him help others with quiet encouragement. Lyra's violet eyes softened. She had expected to feel relief or triumph, but instead she felt admiration, deep, genuine admiration for this human she had once mocked. Lyra began to speak to him more, asking questions about his world, about Earth, about how humans survived. Marcus answered each one patiently, never judging, always encouraging. Every story of endurance, every memory of struggle filled her with respect. Humans were fragile to the eye, yet inside they carried a power no alien could ignore. By the end of the week, Lyra felt a shift in herself she couldn't explain. The laughter that once escaped her when humans struggled was gone. In its place was quiet observation, understanding, and most importantly, respect. One evening, as they trained alone under the dim glow of the command center lights, Lyra spoke softly, almost to herself. "I thought humans were weak. I was wrong. You're incredible." Marcus smiled faintly, brushing off the compliment. "I'm not incredible. I just do what I have to. We all survive in our own way." Lyra nodded, feeling something deep inside, an awakening. She realized that strength was not measured by size, speed, or raw power. Strength was heart, courage, patience, and endurance. Marcus, this human she had once mocked, embodied it all. And for the first time, Lyra understood that admiration could grow quietly, unnoticed, like a seed taking root. And in the presence of a human like Marcus, that seed had already begun to bloom. The calm of the colony was shattered without warning. Rogue ships, larger and more vicious than the pirates they had faced before, tore through the outer defenses. Alarms blared, lights flickered, and panic spread like wildfire among the cadets. Lyra's heart raced. She gripped the controls of her hovercraft tightly, unsure where to go first. Her mind spun with fear. This was real, danger she couldn't simulate or train for. She froze, caught between instinct and panic. "Lyra!" Marcus's voice cut through the chaos, calm yet commanding. She turned to see him piloting his fighter through the assault, scanning every angle with precision. "Focus, trust your team, trust yourself. You can do this." The words were simple, yet they struck her with force. She had mocked him, dismissed him, judged him, but now he stood as a beacon of courage. Slowly her hands began to move, following his guidance. Her ship responded smoothly, her mind clearing as she followed his lead. The alien cadets hesitated, unsure how to act, but Marcus moved among them like a calm storm, giving orders, guiding, encouraging. "Wedge formation. Protect the civilians. Cover the left flank. Don't panic." Lyra realized something incredible. Fear was natural, but courage wasn't the absence of it. It was action despite it. Marcus embodied that truth. His calm presence turned panic into action, chaos into strategy. A rogue ship barreled toward a transport carrying supplies critical to the colony. Lyra saw it, heart pounding. Marcus's voice came over the comm. "Intercept. Use the asteroid cover. You can handle this." She followed, dodging debris, weaving through laser fire, and firing her weapons with precision she didn't know she had. Marcus's instructions were steady, guiding her, inspiring her, giving her confidence she never believed she could possess. Nearby, another alien cadet froze in terror, paralyzed by fear. Marcus didn't shout. He didn't scold. He flew beside her, calm and steady. "You can do it. I'm here. Just follow my lead." The cadet moved, following his guidance, and together they turned the tide against the attackers. Lyra's chest ached with a strange mixture of fear, adrenaline, and awe. She had thought strength was size, speed, raw power, but Marcus showed her that true strength was patience, focus, courage, and the ability to inspire others. A human, small, fragile, seemingly weak, was leading them all through impossible odds. By the end of the battle, the rogue ships were repelled, the colony largely intact, though damaged. Lyra's hovercraft floated gently near the command center, her hands trembling, her chest heaving. Around her, alien cadets whispered in disbelief and admiration. She felt that same awe herself, but mixed with something else, shame for ever having mocked him. Marcus landed smoothly, stepping out of his craft with calm precision. He checked the cadets, reassured them, and quietly ensured the colony's safety. His face was calm, almost serene, despite the battle that had raged around them. Lyra approached him slowly, her violet eyes soft. I don't know how you do it, she admitted, her voice shaking slightly. I thought humans were weak. Fragile, but you... Marcus turned to her, a faint smile on his face. I just do what I have to, and sometimes I help others do the same. That's all. Lyra shook her head, awe and respect flooding her. No, it's more than that. You inspire. You give courage when everyone else is scared. You lead when others freeze. You make us believe we can survive even when it seems impossible. Marcus's smile softened. That's what humans do. We survive, we endure, and we help others endure with us. Lyra looked at him in silence, understanding fully now why she had been wrong to mock him. The human she had dismissed had just taught her the greatest lesson of all. Courage, heart, and perseverance could overcome any obstacle. For the first time, she didn't see him as small or weak. She saw him as extraordinary, and she knew deep inside that she would never underestimate a human again. The colony was quiet now, the echoes of battle fading into memory. Smoke rose from damaged buildings and the faint hum of repair drones filled the air. Lyra floated above the central square, watching Marcus move calmly among the cadets, checking that everyone was safe. She could no longer see him as small or fragile. The human who had once struggled with a training barbell now carried an entire colony through the chaos. He did not boast or demand attention. He simply acted quietly, with a heart and courage that inspired everyone around him. Lyra's violet eyes followed him as he approached a group of frightened cadets, gently placing a hand on a young alien's shoulder. You did well. I know it was hard, he said, his voice steady but warm. The cadet nodded, blinking back tears, finding comfort in his calm presence. Lyra felt her chest tighten. She had mocked him once. She had laughed at his small frame, assumed weakness in his quiet manner, and now she realized how deeply wrong she had been. Humans were not weak. Humans endured. Humans adapted. Humans inspired. Marcus embodied all of it. She stepped forward, her heart pounding, and caught his attention. He turned to her with the faintest smile. Lyra, he said as if reading her thoughts, are you all right? Lyra nodded, her voice trembling slightly. I was wrong. I thought humans were weak. I thought I could judge strength by size or speed or power, but you've shown me something I couldn't see before. Humans, they endure. They fight. They survive. Against everything. Marcus's expression softened. We do what we have to. That's all. And sometimes others see the strength we carry because we carry it together. Lyra's eyes glistened. She had never felt such admiration for another being. Not for an alien, not for anyone. But Marcus, this one human, had earned it through courage, patience, and an unshakable heart. She remembered the first time she mocked him, laughing at his struggles. She remembered the convoy mission, the battle in the asteroid belt, the rogue fleet assault. Each moment had chipped away at her assumptions, replacing mockery with awe. Lyra realized that strength was not visible at first glance. It wasn't about who could lift the most, strike the hardest, or look the fiercest. True strength was endurance, resilience, and the courage to act when all odds seemed impossible. Marcus had all of it. She stepped closer, her voice soft but firm. Marcus, you've taught me something. Humans, they are incredible. Not because of muscle or weapons, but because of their heart. And you are extraordinary. Marcus shook his head gently, a humble smile on his face. I'm just one human. My people, Earth, my homeworld, they made me what I am. I carry their courage with me. And that's all. Lyra looked at him, violet eyes shining. No, you carry more than that. You carry hope. You carry inspiration. You carry strength that no alien can ignore. I understand now. I will never underestimate a human again. A quiet calm settled over the square. Around them, cadets whispered in respect, sensing the weight of what had passed, the courage and heart that had saved them all. Lyra felt a profound sense of change within herself. The mockery, the assumptions, the doubts, they were gone. All that remained was respect, awe, and understanding. Marcus looked at the stars above as if seeing Earth in their distant glow. Lyra watched him, feeling a warmth she could not name. The human had survived, endured, and inspired. And now, he had changed her forever. In that moment, Lyra knew the truth. Humans were not weak. Humans were extraordinary. And Marcus, the one she had once mocked, was the living proof of it. For the first time, she felt it fully, deeply, without question. Respect, admiration, and awe for the human spirit, and she smiled, because she had finally seen the truth. Humans endure. Humans inspire. Humans were incredible.